Welcome back. In this video segment we will work through step 12 through 15 of tutorial 3. These steps will demonstrate how to set the machine type, set up the stock to be machined, and contour the outside profile. On the screen is the completed geometry for tutorial 3. Let's start on step 12, setting the machine type. I'm going to move on up and select machine type, mill, and then pick default. Moving over to the left side of the screen, I'm going to pick the plus in front of properties, and next pick stock setup. What we're going to do is select the bounding box button to allow the system to automatically find the part overall dimensions. I'm going to select bounding box and then move this dialog box up. We have a check mark against all entities, so it's going to select all the entities on the screen. What do we want to create? Just the stock. I'm going to leave lines, arcs, points, center point unchecked. We don't want to create any extra lines, arcs, points or center points. In the expand section, I don't want to increase the size of my stock, so I'm going to leave everything at 0. And at the bottom you can see the shape is set to rectangular. I'm going to pick OK. Our Y value has been input and X value has been input for the stock. Moving over to the Z, the thickness, I'm going to input 1.0. The stock origin I'm going to leave as is. Everything is set here correctly. Let's move over to the tool settings page. The feed calculation is being taken from the tool. Moving over to the toolpath configuration area, I'm going to turn on assign tool numbers sequentially and also check for warn of duplicate tool numbers. The advanced options, I'm going to turn on override defaults with modal values and check clearance, retract and feed. Moving over to the right, for sequence number I'm going to change the start to 1 and I'm going to move up in increments of 1. Moving out to the bottom, you can see material is set to aluminum inch 2024. I'm going to change that. I'm going to pick select. Next, in the source area, I'm going to pick library and then move on up, and I'm going to select aluminum inch 6061. Hit the check mark. Everything is set here correctly. I'm going to check again. Let's move on up and get an isometric view, and I'm going to do a screen fit. So the red dashed lines represent our stock. I'm going to go back up, get a top view. Let's now move on to step 14. We're going to contour the outside profile. Toolpaths, contour, toolpath. So select contour chain. I'm going to move down to the bottom of the screen and select this arc. Now the prompt, branch point reached, select next branch. What I'm going to do is pick this top arc. It's moved further on round the contour. I have the same prompt, branch point reached, select the next branch. What I'm going to do now is pick this arc. Again, same prompt. I'm going to pick this last arc here, and as you can see, it's successfully chained the complete contour. Moving over to the left, I'm going to pick the OK button to exit chaining. And what I'd like to do now is select a 3/4 flat end mill. I'm going to move down and select library tool. I'm going to move on up, pick filter. Over in the tool types, I'm going to pick none to disable any previous tool selections. Next, I'll move up and pick the icon for flat end mills. And then moving over to the tool diameter section, you can see I have it set to equal, and for my diameter 0.75. So everything looks great here. Going to pick OK, and as you can see, it's filtered out a 3/4 flat end mill. I've selected that end mill. I'm going to pick OK. It's tool number 1. I'm going to change the length offset to 1, and moving on down the comment, I'm going to type in outside contour. Everything looks great here. Let's move on to the next page, contour parameters. I'm also going to move the dialog box up. I'm going to put a check mark against clearance, and I'm going to change it from 2 to 1 inch. Moving on down, my retract is in absolute, set at 0.25, that's good. Feed plane is in incremental at 0.1, going to leave that as is. Top of stock is absolute 0, and for my depth I'm going to input -1 inch. Let's move on down now and enable depth of cuts, and I'm also going to move into depth of cuts. My maximum rough step, it's set at 0.5. I'm going to leave that as is. Finish cuts is 0, and finish step is 0.05. So everything's looking good, and my depth cut order is by contour. Everything's looking great here. Going to hit the OK. Lead in, lead out is turned on. I'm going to hit the button for lead in, move the dialog box up. I'm going to turn off enter exit at midpoint, and you can see I've got my entry turned on and my exit turned on. For the length, I've got it set to 75, exit 75. Everything looks great here. I'm going to move on down and OK. Next, let's hit OK. And we successfully contoured the outside contour. For step 15, what we're going to do is change the starting point. I'm going to move over to the left, select the geometry, and the chain manager box opens up. I'm going to right mouse click on chain 1 and select start point. Next, I'm going to select the dynamic button, and when prompted, position arrow and click to accept. I'm going to move on down and pick this arc at the bottom. Everything looks great. I'm going to pick OK and OK to exit the chaining dialog box, and everything looks great. But what we need to do is get rid of this X. We need to regenerate all dirty operations. I'm going to move on up and click the icon to regenerate all dirty operations. That completes step 15 and this video. Thanks for watching.